Hey, true believers, Chris Mack coming at you today with Classic X-Men issue 20. This was the reprint of Uncanny X-Men 114 from, I believe it was July 1978. And a fun little tidbit about this issue. Sadly, they don't give you the cover inside here, but I believe 114 was the first comic to use the Uncanny title, but it wasn't officially called Uncanny X-Men until after Days of Future Past, which was 142. Now, the print date on the reprint here was April of 1988. It says, 2 classic tales of the Uncanny X-Men. One thing I've always loved about these classics is you get the reprint of the story, but you also get a follow-up. And some of these are really important, like you get Rogue's origin story. You get some really cool backup with Kitty Pryde. And there's other ones where like you'll get a really nice story of Kurt Wagner during Christmas time. Highly recommend checking them out. So plotters, Chris Claremont and John Byrne. Chris Claremont and Joe Duffy. Oh, there's a lot of them. I'll go ahead and just kind of let you check that out and pause at your convenience rather than trying to make y'all sit here and listen to me ramble on. But it's a powerhouse team. And again, just listen to the way that Claremont introduces this story. For some, backstory on this last issue, they had a mega battle with Magneto in their Antarctic, what is that thing called? Hideout. And Beast thinks the other team is dead. He should have died hours ago. In fact, he almost had, lying face down in the snow, sleeping his life away. But something deep within him forced him to his feet, forced him to pick up the girl, forced him to start walking across the Antarctic wastes. It would have been so easy to stop, but he didn't. Hank McCoy, Avenger, Jean Grey, X-Men. They need only one thing to survive this night. A miracle. And you can just see the stakes right off the bat as it's added in here, desolation. So you feel just kind of that absence, the background with the snow, and Beast just almost a popsicle, literally. You see the type of trouble that they are in. And here's where you can kind of start to see where the team at the time really started to tease on Jean's Phoenix power. And in doing so, it's sort of a blessing in disguise, sort of, because it saves both her and Beast. But I don't want to give away everything that happens here, but it makes Hank question Jean. Now, we do come to find out that the other X-Men had not died. However, things are happening. There's a lava flow, which is going to cause Magneto's hideout to explode. And everyone's just thinking, God, how are we going to do this? We need a miracle. And so after punching through hours of rock and lava, Storm feeling claustrophobic and begging to breathe, they fight and they fight. And Storm has to use her powers to stop this lava flow. And she goes, the tunnel's so small, rocks so close about me, like a tomb, heart hammering in my breast. I do not want to die. How is it possible to be so afraid? Pain as though I'm tearing out my very heart. I can endure no more, but I must. I shall. And in doing so, Cyclops pushing his team as far as they can go. They do survive, but end up in the clutches of another peril. And just look at the artwork as they find out that they are in the Savage Land. So this issue is the first time that Storm, Banshee, Wolverine, Nightcrawler, basically the new X-Men team, has seen the Savage Land. Cyclops is aware of it. And he goes, we're back in a place that I never thought I'd see again. And I'm not too sure where the first Fastball special was, but seeing a classic one here where Banshee again is in the perils of a pterodactyl-esque beast. I can't remember the full name of it. But he's like, comrades, there must be something we can do. There is Colossus. Just fix me a fastball special and watch the man with the adamantium claws save the day. He takes down the pterodactyl, and they have to hunt him down. And there he is, my friends. Glad to see you're still in one piece, Wolverine. Mein Gott, from the looks of this, the beast never had a chance. Nope. You know, group, I think I'm going to like this place. That's just classic Wolverine. Because anytime he is in the Savage Land, he is vicious. And here, the X-Men, Jean and Hank, are returned to Westchester, and she has to go break the news to Charles. She goes, she never thought the house could feel so empty. She aches inside, a knot tightening around her heart with every passing second. And yet her face is calm, her hands steady. Only her eyes betray her. Professor Charles. And look at that. There needs to be no more dialogue, just that standalone panel to narrate the loss that both of them are feeling, thinking that the other team is dead. Time passes. What's his name? Kazar takes the X-Men in, helps them to recuperate. And Storm actually enjoys it here because she says that it makes her feel like she's back home in Africa. I cannot remember her tribe or her land, but she's saying that, it feels good to be back here instead of feeling the waste of New York City. But while she's kind of feeling like she's recouping, Sean's saying that he enjoys the reprieve from where they were because, they're recouping, they have a plan, they're going to get out of the savage land, but they have to heal their wounds. But there's still that underlining sadness that Cyclops thinks Jean and Hank are dead. And it's very aching how he felt when he lost Thunderbird. But there's a little caveat to this. He goes, I failed. I was in command. Everyone depended on me, trusted me, and I blew it. And Jean and Hank died. I've been over that fight with Magneto 1,000 times. Trouble is, in absolute terms, the X-Men did pretty well. How am I going to tell the professor? It'll break his heart. Though I'm surprised it hasn't broken mine. Surprised and a little scared. Now, while he's reflecting on how he's feeling about the loss of Jean, at this point, Cyclops doesn't really know his past, who his father is, yada, yada, yada. So there's a little bit of a aha moment about Corsair here that I don't want to give away, but it's very profound. He comes to talk to Storm. She goes, I was concerned a little, and I was lonely in my way. I cared for Jean as much as you did. I thought you might want someone to share the grief with. I wish I had some grief to share. I don't understand. I don't either. I mourned for Hank, but for Jean, there's nothing. After the shuttle flight, which was the original Uncanny X-Men 101 and 100, nothing had changed between us, and yet everything he had. She wasn't the girl I'd loved anymore. Perhaps it was simply that she was no longer a girl, as you were no longer a boy. We have all changed, Scott. Hopefully we've all grown as well. If you wanted only to preserve the Jean that was, like a fly in amber, perhaps what you felt for her was not love at all. And I love how Storm just always can kind of put that nail on the head, and it makes Cyclops' resolve shake, and he doesn't know how to come to terms with himself, and he goes, why doesn't it hurt? And it's just great storytelling of one man's inner turmoil. But on the flip side to that, babe, you were the first person I ever really cared for. I had plans for us, Jeannie. And now all I got inside is ache. That's killing me. So you kind of see where every X-Men is in this tragedy that's happened where no one knows what's going on. So even though they're trying to make the best of a worse situation, you can see how each person is feeling on the inside. Now, with that said, there's a moment with Sauron, and it just builds up for the next issue. And you're just thinking, oh God, what is Carl Lycos going to do? Excellent storytelling, artwork by the art team. Beautiful, beautiful. Now, as I said, with these classic X-Men, there's backup stories. So if you have the original 114 issue, you're not going to have this story. But Rogue, Storm is dreaming of being married. And the dialogue is just saying, basically this, sorry, I'm trying to figure out a place to start. She goes, you are Storm, born Aurora Monroe, daughter of an American journalist and an African tribal princess, and orphaned by the wickedness of human greed at an early age. Today you are to be joined to this man before all your dearest friends and his. And at first think this is really sweet, but why is Storm getting married? But as the story unfolds, it starts to feel like George Romero's Night of the Living Dead. I mean, look at this. I think this would be like the first Marvel Zombies before Marvel Zombies was cool. And it just turns into straight horror. And you could feel Storm's claustrophobia. The artwork in here, the dark corners, the Dutch angles, the deep shadows. And all this culminates in a mystery at the end that Storm has to solve. And what's great is in a term, so Storm is sort of like the eco-warrior. She's the Captain Planet of the team. But she's so endearing that it doesn't feel like preachy or on the nose. That's who Storm is. That is her personality. And that's why you love her. And I mean, look at this. Love that back page there. That was another thing about the classic X-Men is they always added this kind of back artwork. It's just awesome. It just really added to the whole comic in and of itself. So with that said, if you guys have enjoyed Classic X-Men number 20, please first and foremost support your local comic shop or wherever it is you like to pick up your comics. Or if you have the deep pockets, I'd recommend also grabbing an original copy of 114 for your collection. And if you've enjoyed this review, we really would appreciate it if you take a moment to hit like, share, and subscribe. Helps the club channel more than you could possibly know. And if you don't mind hitting that fancy little savage bell next to subscribe, that way as we continue to upload content, you guys will get notified. Come to the channel, and we love talking with you and hearing your thoughts and feedback down in the comments below, or our social media pages, which I'll make sure to leave the links down in the description. So with all that said, thank you so much for stopping by. Hope y'all continue to have an absolutely amazing day reading, and happy hunting, true believers.